All right, guys, I want to try to make cream cheese. I'm so excited. We've been learning all this stuff together, and it is so much fun. So I have my Nourishing Traditions cookbook. This is going to be linked down in the description. If you don't own this book, I highly recommend it. It is a homesteader's manual. You really need it. So I want to make cream cheese because if you missed the video, I recently learned how to make sourdough bagels, and I want to make them again. But this time I want to put my own cream cheese on them. So on page 87 of this book, there is a recipe called whey and cream cheese. Whey is the byproduct of creating the cream cheese, and it is used in many of its own recipes, which I'm going to explore over the next few days because I'm going to have whey and I want to be able to use it. So this recipe makes 5 cups of whey and 2 cups of cream cheese using 2 quarts of milk. I don't need that much, so I'm going to use 1 quart of milk, which will make roughly 2.5 cups of whey and 1 cup of cream cheese, which is more realistic for my needs. Now, there are a lot of different ways, ways you can make cream cheese using Pima milk, whole milk, buttermilk, yogurt, or raw milk. I'm going to be using raw milk. I don't have any of those other things. So it says, if you're using raw milk, place the milk in a clean glass container and allow it to stand at room temperature for 1 to 4 days until it separates. So that's what we're going to do. That's how we're going to start this out. I have purposely been buying an extra half gallon. These are half-gallon mason jars. And every other Tuesday, I get 5 of them. It is just Tom and I consuming this milk. And Tom doesn't really drink milk. I drink milk every day. And so I was getting 4 for the longest time, but I was consuming all 4 just straight. And so I wanted a 5th one so that I could experiment and do some projects. So I get an extra half gallon. And that is so I can do things like milk kefir and this cream cheese project. So we need 4 cups equal a quart. So I need 4 cups of raw milk to go in here. Oh, you know what? Oh, perfect. Look, I don't even need to measure it. This mason jar hat, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. This says cups right here, and the number 4 is right there. That's perfect. Love that. Oh, so close. All right, I'm gonna wait to go over the rest of the instructions with you until we get to that point. So I'm not even gonna put this on top of my fridge because it does not say anything about heat. It doesn't say anything about putting this somewhere warm. It just says room temperature. Let stand at room temperature. So I'm gonna put that right here. All right, guys, I'll see you in a few days. We are back. I have to address this because this has been sitting out on the counter for definitely 4, maybe 5 days, somewhere in the 4 or 5 day range. And this said to do 1 to 4 days. And it says until it separates. And I looked this up. I've seen some pictures. And mine just really did not do what I thought it was going to do. It doesn't look like how the others looked. But I don't want to leave it out any longer. So we're just going to go for it. So here I have a bowl with my fine mesh strainer and some unbleached organic cheesecloth. This is my first time using the bougie stuff. I got it from Azure Standard. And this is the type of project. I've said before that I don't like to use cheesecloth because I feel like it's very wasteful. And I have a hard time with like one-use items. But this is one of those items that I would splurge and use it on, cream cheese, because we're going to be consuming it. I don't know. Anyway. Woo! Woo! I just popped that lid off and caught a whiff. I don't know, man. My first time doing this, if you can't tell. And we are just going to pour it right in here. Woo! Okay. And we're supposed to let that sit. It says to line a strainer and put it over a bowl, cover it with a clean dish towel, which I'll do in a minute. Pour in the separated milk, cover and let stand at room temperature for several hours. The whey will run into the bowl and the milk solids will stay in the strainer. And then there's another step beyond that, and I'll show you when we get to it. So right now we're just going to let this, and you know what? My cheesecloth is long enough. I'm just going to do this. I'm not going to cover it with a towel. I'm just going to do this number here. And let this sit and drip into the bowl. It says several hours. So I probably won't address this again until I have to work tonight. I'm doing an overnight at a patient's house, and it's 2 o'clock. So I'll probably come back to this in 4 or 5 hours and we'll move on to that final step. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next thing it wants us to do, which is remove it from the strainer. Obviously keep it in the cheesecloth. And it wants you to tie it around a wooden spoon, which I have no experience doing. So let me see if I can do this without screwing it up. And the whole point is when gravity, so right now it's being held up by my fine mesh strainer. So once it has gravity working with it, and it's literally just free hanging, it will drain out the rest of the whey. That's the thought. Okay, that's not beautiful in any way, but I think it's gonna do the job. So let's get the strainer out. Is that too? I don't think it is. I don't have a whole lot of like tall, narrow containers. So I think I will just pour this whey out into a container because I was ultimately going to do that anyway. And that'll give me the space I need. Okay, and then that gives me the space I need to let this hang so that it's not hanging in the liquid because that wouldn't make much sense. Okay, so this is the whey we have so far, and it does say store whey in a mason jar and cream cheese in a covered glass container. Refrigerated, the cream cheese keeps for 1 month and the whey for 6 months. So it's not a mason jar, but it's just a glass Pyrex bowl, which is just as well. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the fridge. Obviously, whatever additional whey strains, doing it this way, I will add. And then it says once this completely stops dripping, that's when it is ready, and we'll do all of the straining it's going to do. And then the whatever's left in the cheesecloth is your cream cheese. So this is the final step before that. I'm gonna see if I can't tie this a little tighter to get it. It's not touching the bottom, but it's close to touching the bottom, and I just want to give it room to drain. Oh, there we go. I was able to get that way up. Okay. Hey, cool. This is fun. You guys already know this. I say it in just about every video I upload, but gosh, I just love learning new things. I really do. I so adore learning new skills, especially stuff like this. This is so like homesteady, you know? And I love that. So we're gonna let that go ahead and keep draining, and then this is gonna go in the fridge, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night. That's when I'm gonna have time to address this again, tomorrow night. All right, we are back. So I had said that it was going to be the next night that we were going to look at this, and that was last night. It didn't end up happening. I was so tired when I got home from work last night. I think I went to bed at like 8:30. I was so tired. And so it's the next morning, and we're gonna go ahead. I put this in the fridge. I let it sit out while I was at work, and then when I got home, I looked at it and I was like, it's not happening, and I stuck it in the fridge because I didn't want it to sit out for too long. I don't know if that was necessary or not. And so I've got a bit of whey that got strained out doing this method, and I'm gonna go ahead and pour that into this bowl. So this is the original whey that we got the first time. So now I've got this nice bowl of whey, very exciting. But here's a moment of truth. This is the cream cheese, and I'm actually really nervous. I hope that this looks good. That is really interesting. You can see the bits in here that are cream. They're a little more yellow than the rest. Oh, wow. Yeah, the cream settled on the bottom. Can you see that color difference? This is super white. Oh, here you go. That's perfect. Can you see that? Look at the color difference. That's the cream and that's the rest. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Interesting. I think what I might do, because so the inside of it is still a little wet, I think I might even use my hand mixer and like whip it to make like whipped cream cheese so that it looks more like what I'm accustomed to and more like what Tom's accustomed to if we were to put this on like a bagel or something. But how interesting is that? Okay, so I've got my homemade cream cheese in a bowl here. And what I'm gonna do is add 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I have no idea if that's a good amount or not. It doesn't say, and I use the Nourishing Traditions book to do this, and it doesn't say anything about adding salt, but I don't know. I feel like I'd like a little bit of just something else in it. Of course, at this point, you could add honey, you could add chives, herbs of some kind, strawberries. There's all sorts of different types of cream cheese that you can buy at the store, right? Like flavored cream cheeses. So now would be the time to do that because I want this to be, I'm going to whip this, and I'm going to try to whip it rather, because I love whipped cream cheese from the store and I think it would make this look a little more uniform. So I just wanted to add a little bit of salt. I'll let you know if that's a good thing or not. And I have it in a bowl. I'm just going to use my hand mixer and see. I also might not have this in a big enough bowl. Ah! I don't have it in a big enough bowl. Okay, take 2. It smells like cream cheese. I think mine's a little wet. I think because when I opened up the cheesecloth, it had formed a glob, and then when I broke it open, the inside was still really wet. So I think when I make this again in the future, I'm going to, when I do that step where I tie it to the spoon, I think I'm going to open up the cloth and just kind of break it up a little bit. It says in the Nourishing Traditions recipe to be really careful not to squeeze it. So I'll be gentle, but I think I'm just going to break it up to make sure that every part of it's really draining. But this is still going to be fine. I just think it looks a little wet. But I also don't know what this is supposed to look like, so maybe it's supposed to be a little more wet than the store-bought one. I don't know. Let me find a container to put this in. I've got these cutie little jars. My mom gave them to me. Let's go ahead. I think I have more than this little jar is going to hold, but I don't think I have enough for a 1/2 pint. So I'm just going to fit what I can fit in here. All right, you guys, so I could have used a 1/2 pint jar, but you know what? I ended up with 2 of these, and what I'm going to do, if you notice, one of them's not as full as the other one. This one I left a little bit of space. Maybe I should leave a little more space. I'm going to freeze this one. It's an experiment. So store-bought cream cheese, you can freeze to lengthen its lifespan, I guess, the freshness. However, once you defrost it, it's not the same. The consistency changes. You can no longer use it for like dips and spreads and whatnot, but you can bake with it. And so I'm fully anticipating that this isn't going to freeze and be spreadable and like for bagels and stuff. I already know that, but I am anticipating that I will be able to bake with it. So that's what I'm thinking for this. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one in the freezer and just see. And in the future, we'll bake something with it and I'll pull it out and we'll see together what it looks like. Hopefully I left enough space. You know what? I'm feeling like maybe I didn't. I'll take one more little scoop out of here. You have to leave, when you freeze things, you have to leave room for them to expand. That's why I'm concerned. Take just a little more out of there. Okay. Otherwise, the glass could break, and then we're not trying it because I am worried about glass. This one I'm going to keep in the fridge, and we will munch on it. I think, if I remember correctly, the cream cheese lasts in the fridge for up to a month, I think it said. I'll have to check that and make sure, but so this I'm going to keep in the fridge and we'll eat it. I've got the whey. It stays good in the fridge for a while. I have a little bit left in the bowl here that I didn't have room for. I've got 1/2 piece of bread. I'm only doing 1/2 because I just ate breakfast, so I'm actually not hungry. But I want to taste this and see if it tastes like cream cheese. So in terms of consistency, this is definitely thinner than store-bought. Like I said, I think mine retained more liquid. And I don't know if that's normal or not, but I already said what I'm going to do in the future to try and get that extra liquid out. But the flavor, I think, should still reflect. So let's taste this. I'm excited, but I'm also kind of nervous. It tastes like cream cheese. Oh my gosh. Guys, it tastes like cream cheese. Wow. That is so exciting. I cannot believe that. You guys, I have learned another homesteading skill. I made cream cheese. I made my own homemade cream cheese. I just crossed something else off the list that I don't have to buy from the store. I just made my own homemade cream cheese. And I made it using raw milk that I get from a local farm that someday hopefully I'll produce on my own farm. And so I just created a sustainable product that from beginning to end I can make at home. I don't need, I mean, the salt was optional. I did get the salt, you know, I ordered it online. I use Redmond's real salt, but like I made this cream cheese at home. I don't know why that, like, that's still, I'm early enough in this journey that this kind of thing just blows my mind. Like, it just absolutely blows me away. Like, if we were living in a time where we couldn't go to the grocery store and I lived on a farm and had a cow, I could make cream cheese. That's so cool. I don't know. That's so cool to me. Maybe I'm overreacting, but I think it's so neat. So anyway, you guys, if you get raw milk and you have not yet tried to make cream cheese, I hope that I showed you here today how incredibly easy it is. Other than the fact that it takes several days, the hands-on time was like nothing. I think I spent 15 minutes on this, maybe 20 minutes on this. So easy. And if you're somebody who has a lot of milk coming in and you're struggling to use it, or if you get a milk share and you're at the end, like you're about to go get more milk and you have some left, use that milk so that it's going to good use to make cream cheese. And you know, as time goes on, especially moving into the wintertime now, I'm going to continue learning how to do more of these sustainable food projects, because I want to be able to create as much of the food myself as possible. The whole goal here is to support my community and to leave my money out of the pockets of the big corporations. That's what I'm trying to do here. And so as time goes on, I'm going to keep tackling these projects and I'm going to keep doing them with you and showing you. This could have been a fail, and honestly, I still would have uploaded it because you have to see both. But luckily, this was a success, and now I have cream cheese. I can't wait for Tom to try it. This is so exciting. Guys, I'm going to start asking that if you have made it this far and you haven't already, please give this video a like. That really helps my channel a lot. And if you haven't subscribed, please stick around if you enjoy learning about projects like these and how to make a lot of this stuff yourself at home, because that's a lot of what we do on this channel. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I can't wait to see you in my next video. Have faith, my friends, and keep moving forward.